Welcome to another episode of The Raw Truth. As always, I'm your host, PX Bad Boy. And today we're talking about the living fear. Check it out. As I said, living fear. We all have fears of life. I myself, for a long time, feared trying in order not to fail. I was later shown you can only fail if you stop trying, which meant I was doing what I feared most, which was failing. So I got up and kept trying in order not to fail. I spent 6 months in a dark depression, giving up on the world and giving up on love, until I put it into practice, not giving up. Trying so not to fail. I may not have gotten what I wanted or what I thought I wanted, but I got so much more and found what I needed more. I found being a father was what I really needed and wanted, and though I may not have everything I want, I am happier and a better man for it. Prove to myself and others I'm not worthless. Also prove those who had faith in me and had my back were right all along. Now fear is but a reason to keep on fighting, not running and hiding. Now my son just showed me the truth about myself. We each have our thing. Mine happens to be my son. Could have been anything, and for you, it can be anything. The only way to find out is to keep trying, keep fighting your fears. At the end of the day, our fears are only how we feel about something. We can change how we feel at will, which means we can change what we fear. What I once feared, I no longer fear. I now control that fear because I control how I feel. If I can do it, you can too. Thought I couldn't. I was so wrong. So keep going until you also win your battle with fear. Other ways you can find your truth is to go after your passions, no matter what others think. You can't please everyone. It's what I teach my son. So, to elaborate more, now, I was dating this woman, or this female. She wasn't a woman. And she broke my heart into a million pieces. I've discussed this before. And it put me into a very dark depression for 6 months. I didn't eat much. I slept. I went to the bathroom. I slept, ate, went to the bathroom, and so on was the cycle for 6 months. And nobody can get me out of it. And it was 6 months too long. Then I put the theory into practice, and it gave me a whole new look. Gave me a whole new outlook on life, I guess you'd call it. I guess you can call it, they saved myself. Now, at that time, I didn't have a son. At that time, I wasn't even with his mother. But after I got up and said to myself, the only way you're going to fail, the only way, is if you stop trying. And the only way you're going to not find love is if you stop looking. It's the only way. And I got up and I kept on trying. I found my son's mother, which I thought was love. But when she broke my heart, I didn't go into a depression. It wasn't okay, but I didn't fall into depression. I fell into this shit's not happening again mode. So as a previous conversation we've had, my son's mother told me she was leaving me in 3 days. I said, no, you're leaving now. Now, she was pregnant with my son at the time. And she was 6 months pregnant at that point. I told her she wasn't dragging my heart through the mud. For 3 days, I had to sleep in the same bed, look at her face, knowing she's leaving me and taking my son. Not having it. Now, mind you, he was in her stomach at the time, so I made her leave that day. But at the end of the day, before her father came and got her, we promised to keep trying. I gave her a chain with my ring on it. She gave me her chain with a ring on it. And we promised to keep trying so we can get back together and be the family we were meant to be. She even wrote me a letter while she was gone, stating that's exactly what she was going to do. Try to better herself, to be a better wife for me, and a better mother for our child. That never happened. We never got back together again. Though I did propose to her, and she accepted that proposal for about a week. Matter of fact, it was 4 days before she left to go back to her mother's and then tell me I'm scum and this, that, that, and the other, and we're done. The marriage is off. What the fuck are you talking about? Anyway, so I didn't let the fear put me back in that depression of not finding love and not being happy and not getting what I wanted and just dwelling and dwelling and dwelling, which we all do. And it leads to a really, really dark place. And I know that dark place firsthand. And I promised to never go there again. And I didn't. Then 3 months later, she gave birth to my son. And then my whole world changed. He became my reason to stay out of the darkness. I need to have no fear to be a father. Now, what I mean by no fear is not letting fear control me, because there's things I'm afraid of. Oh yeah. But I don't let that fear control my actions. I control my actions because I control my fears, because my fears are just a feeling, and feelings can change, and you can change your feelings. Because that's all fear is a feeling. It's not an actual thing. It's a feeling which you control. Therefore, I don't have any fear. Because in its simplest terms, things that I should be afraid of and am afraid of don't change things. So therefore they don't exist. So therefore I have no fear. And you need to be that way to be a parent. When you start fearing and complicating this pudding, it becomes chunky and full of nuts. And the last thing pudding needs is nuts. So your best bet, if you cannot swallow your fears and realize they're just feelings and you control them, and that's a problem, well then you're going to have a major problem. You might be the greatest parents in the world. At the end of the day, you may not. But it's guaranteed that you will be if you realize and accept the truth that fear is just a feeling and you control your feelings and you can change how you feel. Only one person thus far, 12 going on 13 years later, has ever called me a bad father or said I wasn't doing the right thing and I wasn't good enough. And go figure, it's my baby mama. everyone else that has watched me be a father may not have approved of every method and may not have approved of every act I may have done. They would have, in their minds, done things differently. But my outcome and my results are undeniable. 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 No one has said anything. I have actually an entire stranger. Her name is Jennifer. She's a Republican, but don't hold that against her. I don't. I'm not a Democrat, but I'm not a Republican either. She's a complete stranger in the sense that I don't know her personally. We've never hung out. I met her on TikTok and we became, I guess, online friends at this point because we came to a common ground that she's not the devil just because she's a Republican. And I'm not an angel because I'm not. So, she saw one of my videos that was mostly about my parenting, and she said, he's lucky to have a father like me. Complete stranger. My brothers, except for one, said the same thing. That they know I'm a great father. I may fuck up everywhere else, and God knows I have. But being a father, I'm doing it right. Whether you agree with it or not, it's still being done right. Like my son's mother, she wants to be his friend, wants to talk it out and work it out. Let me tell you something. I barely want to work it out, talk it out with adults. I'm not doing that with a child. Sorry. They're far from on my level. But I will talk when talking is right. And I will whoop that ass when whooping that ass is right. Plain and simple. You may disagree that, no, you shouldn't lay your hands on your children. That's fine. You're welcome to that opinion. But that is not a fact. What is a fact is words mean nothing to children. It's just sounds that they hear bouncing off the walls. But an ass whooping, they, quote unquote, can feel where I'm coming from. Now, I will tell you this though. In all fairness, single parents, I believe, have to lay their hands on their children more than if completely in comparison to parents that live together with their children. One of my brothers, and I guess you can go so say one of my sisters, they're married. They're not biologically my brother or sister, so don't start thinking some weird shit. Anyway, they live together, they parent together. So there really hasn't been needing of any real physical contact of a punishment or disciplinary factors, because they're essentially either on the same page or forced to be because they're in the same house. And my brother's not going to bow to my sister's will, and my sister's not going to bow to my brother's will. So they have to come to a common ground. I, on the other hand, give my son to his mother, who does things 100% the opposite of me. Okay? And now, mind you, I don't want to hit him. I don't want to. I really don't. But I'm the only one truly disciplining him. So since I'm the only one disciplining him, I have to discipline him as normal and hit him when it gets too much. Like words aren't enough. Sometimes just the sound of my voice when I yell is enough. Sometimes it's enough to just keep saying excuse me until he does what I say. But this wasn't an easy process. I had to punish him physically and verbally to get him to act right. Because she was doing absolutely no disciplining and absolutely no punishing. And what I mean by that is taking away a child's device is not punishment. Breaking their device is punishment. Because in their eyes, no matter how much they cry and whine, they know in the set amount of time you gave them for their punishment, they'll get their device back. They just gotta be patient. So, words and that kind of punishment mean nothing. My son was acting up, so I took one of his video games, one of his favorite, and in front of him, crushed it. Turned it into dust, the DVD, and threw it out. Do you know that drove him nuts? He cried for about 4 hours. But on hour number 5, he was behaving and doing what he was supposed to until he went back to his mother's. So now, I can't destroy all his games. I don't think that's fair. So I had to find another approach. So, good smack in the back of the head was well enough. One smack on the ass, well enough. I don't have to, quote unquote, beat him. All I gotta do is hit him once. Once is an indication shit just got real. The next time I have to lay my hands on you, it's not gonna be so pleasant. And I know it's psychotic in the sense because the first one obviously wasn't pleasant. But the second one, God can't save you. The third one, oh my God, on the loose skin. The fourth, call 911, we need an ambulance. His ass cheek is now in his upper lip. So the point is, the one hit is all I ever really needed. Because he realized shit just got real and I'm not just talking. It's not just a bluff. A lot of kids know their parents are bluffing. And you can tell child, I'm going to take your video games away. He's going to look at you like, go ahead. You're just going to give it back to me anyway. I'm going to whoop your ass. Okay. Eventually, telling them you're going to whoop their ass, they're going to challenge that. They're going to see if you will. Now, it's gone to the point where they challenge that beating. So what you guess is going to happen if you don't beat them? Cha-ching, they got you. So, my son needed no fear for me to be the proper parent. Now that filters into the life period. You take that fear and you realize it's just a feeling, even anger is just a feeling, and it's a lot easier to control those emotions and reactions and things because you realize it's just a feeling. Feelings change just like the wind and you control them. Now, of course, it's not easy as snapping that finger, but it's still doable. Once you say it's not doable, you have no effort in doing it. So then it becomes not doable. But if you realize the truth and admit the truth, that it's so doable, and in some cases, easy peasy, then with that mindset, you do try it. There's so many times you're going to be successful. Other times you're not. There's been times I lost it on my son's mother. Oh, lost it. Because I let anger and fear cloud my judgment. And then when I woke up from that cloudy judgment, I said, you know what? Why am I wasting my time with your dumbass? Kick rocks. What? You heard me. Kick them rocks. I'm done with you. I'm done with you. Okay, 4-year-old. So yes, we're gonna all, as they say, slip off the train. But as long as we know where the tracks are, we can get back on track. So as long as you don't lose grip of those tracks, you're good. But you ever get on the road and watch people drive, just get on any like highway that goes 65 and above, and there's a wall that's in the center. I guess we'll call it median wall. That wall, people get close to it or drive by it, you know, in that lane, and they drive so slow because they're so scared. That's when they crash. That's when they fail. Because they're so afraid of that precious little wall, they pay no attention to you on the road. You behind them, you in front of them, you beside them. Pay no attention. They're so concerned about that damn wall that doesn't move. New York City bus drivers, if they hit you in your car, they get reprimanded. That's it. They hit an inanimate object, which is like a pole, something that doesn't move, they get fired. Why is that? Because it's a fucking object that does not move. So the only fault that can be is your own. But if it's like my car versus a bus, and I get into an accident with him, there's double human error, so they don't get fired. And if they're found out to be responsible, as long as they weren't drinking or texting, even if they just looked away for a second and an accident happened, they get reprimanded, not fired. But they got no excuse for hitting a telephone pole. No excuse for hitting, I think, even a parked car. Anything that's inanimate, they've got no excuse, they get fired. So the point behind that is, you hitting that guardrail because you're afraid of it is the same thing as a bus driver hitting a telephone pole. It's all your fault. You hit me, it could have been my fault, could have been yours. You hit another person, could have been them, could have been you. There is a iffy situation there. But hitting a medium, or median, whatever the hell the name is called, that's all on you. But that's because you let fear control you. Worrying. Not acknowledging, worrying. There's a difference between acknowledging the dangers of hitting that wall and being too close, and another thing of worrying about it. My son's been trying to learn how to throw, and with aim, like in the garbage can, in a bucket, in another can, for years now. And I told him, sorry about that. You have to let go of the worry about missing. You have to let go of the worry of failing. So you miss, pick it up, and do it again. That's it. That's with everything though. And if you think otherwise, please leave a comment. Think I'm wrong. Prove it. Think I'm nuts. Prove it. I'm not afraid to face you. Are you afraid to face me? Are you afraid to leave a comment in because a war will begin, or we'll fight, or an argument? Apparently there's a lot of people afraid to comment on my videos. I got close to 200 videos and no real comment. And definitely no real discussion on the subject matter. And those who did comment, most of them I know personally. One or two I don't. Point being, if you fear leaving a comment, then you didn't hear anything I just told you. If you leave a comment, we'll get into this. If you can tell me somehow, some way, my notes and my thoughts and my facts are wrong, hey, I'll go on live and admit to everyone I'm wrong. And I'll shout you out that you proved me wrong, and kudos to you. I'll say you by name. I have no shame. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right. Why is that? Oh, that's right. Because I'm not afraid. I don't let my fear of looking bad, wrong, or stupid get in the way of being me. On that note, please like and subscribe. Don't like, subscribe. Keep complaining about my videos, leaving comments that you don't like it, and how stupid I am, how great I am, or how nobody wants to hear it. Come on, bring it. I don't mind the back and forth. Just all the thing I ask for is a decent amount of respect. I'm not going to come off the bat and call you a name and start a fight with you that's derogatory for no reason. So you should have no reason to be derogatory towards me. You want to start something, a conversation, an argument, bring it. Show me your proofs. Break down your science. Break down the definition of words, for Christ's sake. And I will sit down and we can go back and forth all damn day. I don't mind. Actually, that's what I'm looking for. So, hope you leave a comment and don't let fear prevent you from getting involved. On that note, good night and keep safe.